Hello, my name is Ben Sayer. In this video I'm going to show you how to use source detail within Reunion for Mac. Now within this person, George Washington Terry, I have a number of events that all use the same source. Let me click on this button and bring up the Edit Person window. And then over here on the events on this Edit Person window, and that's going to list all of the events that I have for this person. And if I select this birth event, and you look down here under source citations, you'll see this source number 127, the U.S. Federal Census from 1900. So I've got that source used for his birth date because that 1900 census included the month and year of birth. And I also use that same event, that same source under the census event. So I added a census event for 1900, and that same source, number 127, is used there. Now, one other place I want to show you where I've used this source for this individual is in the marriage. So if I click right here between these buttons and above where it lists the marriage details, and we look at this marriage, we can see that source number 127 is used there. Again, because in the 1900 census it listed the number of years married. So that same source is used for all of those events, but the source itself is generic, so it's not event specific. So let me open up this source and show you what I mean. All of these fields are specific to that family because I've set this family and dwelling and page. These fields have been populated, so they're specific to that family's records within that census. But I did not populate person of interest, so this source entry is not specific to a person. Now if you populate this, that means that you'll need to add the source multiple times with the person of interest changing each time. I prefer not to do it that way. What I do instead is for the I put that information in the detail field. So on the census event here, what I'll do is add the line number for this person within that census. So if I open this source again and click on the multimedia tab, and I open up this census image and find George Washington Terry, which is right here in the census, we can see that he's line 62. So I'm going to close that, close this, and in here on the detail on the census event and that specific source, I'm going to enter the detail line 62 and then save that. So now, under events, if I go back to the census, you can see it says line 62. Now this detail field for a source is specific to the event that you entered it in. So this detail, line 62, is not included anywhere else that I've used this source. So to show you that, I'll click on birth here, and you'll see source 127, no detail entered. So the way that I'll use this for the birth is to include the detail from that source that is associated with the person's birth. So in this case, the little extracts that I have from that source record are date of birth is what it says, and then there's a separate month, and that said May, and year said 1859. And then there's also a place of birth, and that was listed as Utah. So here I've captured the specific detail that's in that source record, but specific to this event. So these corroborate the month and year of date and also the state as far as the place of birth. And then the one other place that I want to update is up here in the marriage. I want to add the details specific to that. So the head of household was listed as Terry George W. And the person of interest here was Eliza E. And the number of years married said 22. So that information corroborates this. In 1900, 22 years previous, George Washington Terry was married to Eliza E., now Terry. So I'll save that.